Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga. So today's class is going to have a theme of Satya. So Satya is one of the yamas. So that is the yamas in the 8-limb yoga path is more about ethics, how you live, what you do. So basically maybe truthfulness or an honest life, if you want to look at it from that perspective. So that being said, we will come to a comfortable seat. And I'm sitting on a folded blanket. I've got another one here to help me when we come into frog pose today, as well as a bolster. You may need to have other props in as needed, but other than that, we're good to go and we'll get started. So find a nice tall seat, whatever that looks like for you. Take a slight tuck in the chin. Think about growing tall from crown to tail. And we'll settle in here for our practice. So just noticing the body for a moment. Is there somewhere else in the body that you could soften just a little bit more? And once you've softened just a little bit more, bring that attention and awareness to your breath. So as you inhale through the nose, can you find some expansion in that rib cage? And slowly releasing out. Now I'm releasing through the mouth. You can also release through the nose, whatever feels good and natural to you in the moment. So big inhale and expand. Slowly let it go. Let's take that one more time. Big inhale. And slowly release. Good. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, and lengthen, touching palms together. Exhale, hands and heart center. So coming to intention. So remember, you always have the option and choice to create your own. If you're following me today, that's going to be the Satya, the truthfulness, an honest life. And once you have that set, we'll inhale, take it up. Now reach up there. We're going to go right into a side bend to the left. So just take that over. Just get a nice stretch. Breathe and expand. And moving through center, let's take that right over and to the right. Breathe and expand. We're going to come back over to the left. So as you come back over to the left, good, you choose to stay here. It might be a better idea for you right now to maybe open to the ceiling, or maybe you'd rather have a C-curve roll. So belly button is into the spine, head or forehead is in the direction of the knee, but not touching. I'm breathing and expanding wherever I choose to go. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, move through center, taking that right over onto the other side. You can stay here. You can choose to open, or you can choose that C-curve roll. Always what's doing best for your body. And what you do on one side might not be what you need to do on the other side. So sides are often different. And when you're ready, we'll lengthen and come back. Reach up again. Let's take a gentle rotation towards the left. Arms are going to come down here. Rolling shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind you. Breathe and expand. Careful not to crank the low spine. Inhale and lift. Exhale, center. Inhale. Exhale, take that to the other side. Arms coming down. Rolling shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind you. Breathe and expand. Good. And we'll lift and we'll come back to center. So you get any other little movement here that would feel good to you. So for me, that's going to be a spinal roll. So just a thought, it's a quote from Buddha to kind of set us up here for practice. Maybe 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Or another way of saying that, the truth will always come out some way or another. So bear that in mind. So from here, let's start in a corpse pose. Let's start a little bit different today. So I'm going to come onto my back. And once I come back here, I'm just going to kind of wiggle, 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 and just kind of feel the different pressure points and just kind of get a little settled in just a little bit more. Good. Now from here, I'm going to take my right leg long. And while I'm here, I'm going to flex that foot. So I'm taking that toe towards the face. Good. And maybe I can press just a little bit more from hip to heel. So that leg's going to lengthen just a little bit. And now I'm just going to let everything kind of settle back in. So my hip went forward, that right hip went forward. Now I'm letting that right hip come back even. Let's take that a few more times. Just pressing a little bit and come back. And a little press and come back. One more time. Press and come back. Put a bend in that knee. Let's take that to the other side. So left leg's going to come long. I've got flexion in the foot. Good. This is my tighter side for sure. I already know that. Good. So let's just press a little bit and come back. And a little press and come back and press, come back. Let's try one more. Good. And come back. Good. Now that we're a little bit more looser or different in the backside, let's take that right leg long again. We're going to bring the left knee into the chest, and you can hold at the shin or the thigh. It's kind of wherever it's best for you. And I'm just going to kind of take this little motion here. And maybe just letting myself come into some little circles and then in the other way. Yeah, so for the purists that are watching this, no, this isn't really yin, but this is setting up for yumminess. So we're just going to start here. Good. So coming back in. Good. Now we're going to hold this knee into the chest here for a couple minutes. So give it a nice tug. And as I'm doing that, now I'm lengthening that right side. And I'm breathing. So coming to the intention of Satya. So it's truthfulness, which a lot of people interpret as, not lying. And certainly we don't want to do that. But think about it in deeper terms versus just, not lying, which is on the surface. So what is your truth? The Sat Nam. I am my truth. Stay with breath. Relax the shoulders. Good. So from here, good. Just lengthen that right leg for a moment. Good. Now from here, once you feel like, the blood's returned and you get that little rush, bring that back in. We're going to go to a half happy baby here. So you can hold on the outside or the inside of the foot or yogi toe. Good. And I'm in an external rotation. So my hip, knees, and toes are turning out away from the body. I'm still on my left side here, and I'm just giving that tug down. I'm also still reaching through that right side. So we'll do this one for a couple minutes as well. So what is your truth, your Satya? Are you living that truth? Just as a reminder here with this hip opener, or really anything we do, pain, numbness, tingling, burning, never normal sensations. So if you feel those, you want to back off until you do not, or come out completely. Stay with the breath, breathe and expand. Come back to intention. Good. So from here, when you're ready, carefully release. Good. Take that leg back long. Good. And we're going to take that all to the other side. Actually, let's take this into a twist first. So my bad. So once you've kind of lengthened that left leg and come out of there a little bit, put a bend back in that left knee. We're going to twist to the right. So right hand's going to come on the outside of that left thigh. Good. We'll do this one for 3 minutes. And then we're just going to roll over to the right. Try to keep your shoulders grounded if you can. And remember, if your knee is not, in particularly good position and having this foot dangle here, support that with something. So for me, this is my arthritic knee who does not like me today. So I'm going to support it by bringing this bolster in here. So always support yourself as you need to. Good. Maybe looking to the left. Breathe and expand. Belly buttons in here. You're in rotation. So you always want to support the back body with the front body. So coming back to the Satya, the truth. What is your truth? Do you live that truth? Living that honest life. So to take that deeper, are you honest with yourself? Breathe and expand. So from here, when you're ready, good. Carefully support yourself as you come back to center. Good. And then once you're there, bring in both knees and just rock side to side, just so that we can reset the low spine a little bit. Good. And then we're going to take that all to the other side. So I'm just going to move this bolster out of the way here. Good. I'll just put it over here on the side. Good. So from here, good. Let's take that left leg long, and we're going to bring in the right knee, and I'm just kind of squeezing it in and letting it go a few times. And then maybe taking it into some little circles here. And then in the other direction. Good. And then when you're ready, just bring that in so you can grab at the shin or the thigh. Bringing that in to the chest. And when I'm doing that, I'm lengthening long through that left side. And so we'll be here for a couple minutes. So in living an honest life in your truth, I asked if you were honest with yourself. So does that mean you're honest with your thoughts, your words, your actions? Do you tell people one thing and then do something else the opposite? Or do you do, or maybe I should say, try to do what you say? I don't believe that everybody is perfect there, despite best intentions. We're still people at the end of the day. But do you try to do that? Do you make an effort to do that? Breathing and expanding, lengthening that other side. Good. So from here, when you're ready, good. Release that right leg. Just kind of take it long, give it a little bit of a break here. And once you've kind of felt that whoosh, go there and you feel good, we're going to bring that back in. So remember, hip, knee, and toe are going to turn away from the body. We're coming into that half happy baby here. So you can grab the outside of the foot, the inside, or yogi toe. Good. And then when you're ready, good. Now we're lengthening that other side. And we'll be here for a couple minutes. Just remember that friendly reminder: pain, numbness, tingling, burning, not normal. So back off, and remember, if it's too deep in the beginning, just kind of lengthen or release a little bit out of there and then come back into it. And then release a little bit and come back into it. Always never be afraid to kind of play with different things. So most of what I know about my body and how I've taught is from me playing with different things. I didn't learn it necessarily in teacher training or in yoga books or different things like that. It's, the personal practice and, figuring out what would happen if I did that. How would it feel if I did it this way versus that way? So the Satya, the truth, the honest living. Good. So from here, when you're ready, carefully release. Let that leg come all the way long, getting out of there. Maybe a little wiggle, wiggle, feeling that whoosh. And when you feel okay to do so, good. We're going to take that into a twist. We're going to twist to the left. So bringing in support here for that right leg if you need it. So I think I might need it today on this side too. So I'm just going to support myself. So bringing in that right knee, left hand on the outside of that thigh, twisting to the left, trying to keep shoulders grounded maybe. We'll be right here. Breathe and expand. So coming back to living in your truth. Remember, the truth will set you free. And once you've let go of that energetic block, the body will be free. And then from here, good. Carefully assist yourself as you come back to center. Good. And then when you're ready, just take that other knee in, coming into the chest, rocking side to side, letting things reset themselves. Good. And so from here, we're going to stay on our back. Now I'm going to shift my position here. We're going to do a cat pulling tail variation. And I'm going to turn my head toward the camera just so you have a more ladylike shot for this one. So similar to kind of the twist. So I'm just going to come onto my back here. Good. Now to start, I'm going to roll over onto my right side. And my knees are bent and they're stacked on top of each other. Good. Now, once I'm here, and this arm typically comes on the top of this thigh. So this top knee, I'm going to bring in a little bit. So it's going to separate from that bottom leg. If you need to support yourself under here, put a folded blanket, a bolster, or something under there to do that for yourself. Some people need it. And then your bottom leg, I'm just going to take that foot back behind me. For some people, this is going to be it. And I want you to think about less about the binding of the foot and more about opening up of the chest here. Okay, so this might be it for others. Now, if you can bind and reach that foot or something like that, you can do that. But I want you to not think about the bind being what you need to do. It's more important that you can open up this chest and less important to get the bind. So be mindful of that, be mindful of the back. Sometimes binding can cause a crunching back here. So be mindful. We'll be here for, let's do this one for 3 minutes. Good. And there we go. So I'm hoping you can see a little bit here. And also too, how far back that bottom foot and leg go behind you also just depends on your body. And actually the bind doesn't feel real good to me. So I'm just going to release my bind and just let this open here. And I actually feel like I'm getting a better outcome and desire from this pose. So I'm living my truth, my honesty, honest with myself, that, you know, it's better for me and for me to model and do what I say, listen to the body for you, by not binding, then forcing myself into a bind, hurting my body because it's not ready to do something, and setting a bad example for you because I'm always about, you know, following your body. So if I tell you that, I should do that as well for my own body and not ignore my own body's cues. So perfect example of that Satya, truthfulness. Going back to the ahimsa conversation from last time, the do no harm. By honoring your body where it is, you're also following the yama of ahimsa, do no harm to self. And so from here, now, if you are someone that did take the bind, carefully release the bind. I'm going to bring my bottom knee in right underneath the top. Good. And then I'm just going to kind of roll the rest of the way over. So I'm coming out of some of that rotation. And I'm just going to pause here for a moment. And then when you feel okay, good. And carefully come back through center. Good. Let's wiggle, wiggle, wiggle through center here for a moment. And then we're going to take that to the other side. So now I'm going to hold on to my timer here. I'm gonna roll over to my left side. Good, as I come onto my left side, good, I'm bringing in my knees are stacked. Good, so my top leg is gonna stay right where it is. Remember, you can always put a support under there if you need to. My bottom leg, now my right leg is gonna come behind me. So I said that wrong. My left leg is on the bottom, my right leg's on the top because I'm rolled over on my left side. So again, you can support this top leg, that knee. Maybe you can roll back and bind with that foot, maybe not. So again, I'm feeling a little tight back there today. So even though I can bind, I'm not gonna bind here. Good. And we'll take that for a couple minutes. Maybe. There we go. Good. So again, remember, it's more important to open up through the chest than it is to take the bind. Staying with the breath. Intention of Satya. Are you living your truth, living your message, your purpose? Closely related to that third chakra, the solar plexus. So from here, good. Carefully, good. If you're bound, release the bind. The bottom knee is going to come underneath the top. Good. And then I'm going to come out of that rotation. So I'm completely on that left side. I'm just going to let things settle in. Good. And once everything has kind of gone back into place there, come back onto your back. Good. And just get a little windshield wiper here. Good. Now from here, when you're ready, good. Carefully roll over to one side. It doesn't matter which side. Carefully press yourself up. You've been down for a little bit, so take your time. Good. So we're going to come into the log stack pose. So we're kind of building up and preparing for that big frog pose. So I'm going to bring my blanket in here to sit on just so that my hips are just a little bit higher. Good. I'm going to start with my right leg being the base and my left leg being on top. Now, I can get a pretty good stack here. I don't have space under here. If this is you, fill this in with a folded blanket or a pillow or something. If this is just not going to work for you today, take your front leg and take that forward. Okay, much less risky, a lot more comfortable. So take care of yourself. And then if you would like, come on, reset. We're not doing this for 6 minutes, I promise. There we go. Nobody wants to do this or anything for 6 minutes. Good. So 3 minutes. Arms are going to come out to the side. My left leg is on the top. I'm going to take my left arm on top. You can hug yourself or you can wrap. So find where you like to be here, and about halfway through, we'll take a fold if you want it. Coming back to that quote from Buddha that I said in the beginning, the 3 things that cannot be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And cannot long be hidden. Maybe I should say it that way. So from here, we're about at the halfway point. Make any changes if you need to and haven't already. You're welcome to stay here. Or maybe you want to hinge from the hips and take a little fold here. So if you're taking a fold, you're going to feel it more in the leg and that hip that you have on top. But it doesn't mean you won't feel it either on the one that you have on the bottom. So be mindful. I often feel it on both sides. I just often feel it a little bit more stronger on the one that I have on top. Good. And from here, carefully come up, carefully undo the arms, carefully undo the legs. Good. And take your feet maybe a little bit wider than body width apart. Take your hands behind you. Just get a little windshield wiper here. And then when you're ready, we'll take that right into the other side. So whatever leg you had on top is now going to be on the bottom. Good. And again, as you switch sides, sides are different. If this is you, you've got a lot of space, fill in that space. If you can't do this or can't fill in that space, take that leg forward. Okay. And then from here, finding length, right arm on top of the left, or do the opposite of what you did before. You can hug or wrap. And when you're ready, we'll be here for 3 juicy minutes. So when living with your truth, think about your priorities. So for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, if running a marathon is number 9, 10 being highest priority, and it's number 9 for you to run a marathon, but everything else seems to be getting in the way of training for that marathon, then ask yourself, is running that marathon really that high of a priority? Or do you need to make some changes in order to stay with that priority? That comes with the honesty, the self-honesty, and truthfulness. Are you living that? Good. So from here, we're at the halfway point. You can stay here, or you can take that fold. Like everything else, just remember pain, numbness, tingling, burning, not normal. So if you feel those, you want to back off until you don't. Good, and then from here, we'll carefully come out. Good, undo. And when you're ready, good, undo your legs. Take your feet about as wide as body width apart. Take hands behind you and just get that little windshield wiper. Good. And then when you're ready, good, we're gonna set ourselves up for frog. Now, before I set myself up for full frog, let me also offer an option here for other people. So sometimes full frog is just not possible for people that day or whatever you have going on. So remember, you can always do or try a half frog. So if you're half frogging it, you'll be on the belly. Good, and you just bring one leg out to the side. So your form is the same, hip, knee in alignment, knee, ankle in alignment. You're still in that external rotation. Some people need to kind of put something under here or maybe up on the other side, if you know, depending on different things. And then when I say halfway point, then you just switch sides. Okay, so if you are going to practice full frog with me, I am going to set my blankets up here to make my knees happy. And I'm going to give myself another blanket today. Good. Okay. So I am pretty tight. So I know off the bat, I'm going to need my bolster. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this in. Good. So from here, good, I'm going to come to all fours. And I'm going to turn my toes out. And I'm just sliding everything out to the side here. So again, you want the hip and knee to be in alignment, knee and ankle in alignment. Support the upper body with something if you need that. A lot of people come more forward, but remember, you want to be in that alignment. So from here, we'll go 3 minutes total. I'm going to take my head to one side at halfway point. I'm going to switch. And if you're doing the half frog, that's when you'll switch as well. And hopefully, eventually, as you become more open in the hips and the pelvis and different things, you become less and less reliant on your props. So if you get started and you're like, I feel more open now, maybe get rid of a prop or two. See where you are. So my hips have a tendency to want to move forward. I have to keep reminding myself to take it back. So as we begin to approach the halfway point here, if you're in full frog, just take your head and neck to the other side. If you're in the half frog, start to change your sides here. And coming back to the Satya, that honest living, honest life, the truthfulness, Satnam. From here, when you're ready, good. Carefully take one leg at a time. Take it long. Good. I'm going to move my bolster out from under me. I'm just going to make a little recovery pillow here and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay. From here, we're going to somewhat finish where we started. I'm just going to move this bolster kind of to the side. So carefully make your way onto your back. And we're going to come back to that supine twist again. But this time will be double kneed. So from here, good. Taking the knees into the tabletop position, knees are over hips, shins are parallel to the floor, arms are out to the side. Take those knees over to the left. Good. Trying to keep the right shoulder grounded, looking to the right. Breathe and expand. And this is actually about the third time we've done this twist. We did it with single knee. We did a version of it with cat pulling its tail. Now you're doing it with both knees. So from here, one leg at a time, carefully bring that back in center. Wiggle, 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 let things reset. And when you're ready, we'll take that to the other side. So knees back in tabletop, knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor. Good, taking those knees over to the right, trying to keep left shoulder grounded, maybe looking to the left, and we'll be here for a couple minutes. Breathe and expand. Keeping in mind the truth will always set you free. It's not always easy, but it will set you free. So from here, when you're ready, good. Carefully take one leg at a time, back to center. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Good. We'll set ourselves up for Shavasana here. So bringing in any props or support that you need or want. I love my bolster under my legs, so I'm going to do that. And then see if you can make yourself about 10% more comfortable, knowing you can always be on your side or on your belly if that's where you need to be. And I'll leave you here for a few moments, dropping into the heart space, coming into your Satya. Taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of fingers and toes. Choose stillness or bringing knees into the chest, choosing to keep the upper body grounded, or maybe you want to lift it up into a full body hug. And choosing stillness or moving any props out of the way if you used any during Shavasana time. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes, full body stretch, point and flex the feet. Bend and stretch through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over onto the side that works best for you. Staying here as long as you need, and when you're ready, coming up to a seat where we started our practice. Yeah. Finding a nice tall sit. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen, touching palms together. Exhale, hands in heart center. Reconnecting with that intention one final time. When you're ready, we'll take thumbs to the forehead for good and true thoughts, to our lips for good and kind words, and to our hearts for open and loving hearts, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you have the courage to strive to lead that honest and truthful life. Namaste.